Good day to all of you. I'm AC and I welcome you to this seventh lecture in the video series where we are discussing the rhetoric section of your first year English honors syllabus. Previously, we have been discussing the figures of speech based on similarity and association. From today on, we will begin discussing the figures of speech based on association that you have in your syllabus, namely metonymy and synecdoche. I hope we all know the meaning of association. It alludes to some kind of connection or relationship. It is our mind, the human mind, which is prone to creating associations between things and objects we find in the world and also between abstract ideas. We as human beings tend to understand or try to understand our world as a connected network of objects and thoughts. And when we find two objects or ideas always to be related, to be together, in our mind they form a sort of connection. And then whenever the thought of one of them comes to our mind, we immediately remember the other connected object or idea. And this is the mental process by which association works. This process of association has been used to form a number of rhetorical figures which are called figures based on association, and this subset generally consists of four figures of speech: metonymy, synecdoche, transferred epithet, and allusion. Among these you have metonymy and synecdoche in your syllabus. Let us begin with the figure of speech of metonymy. The name of metonymy is derived from two Greek words, meta and onoma. Meta means change and onoma means name. So it is obvious that the figure of speech of metonymy is concerned with changing the names, change of name. As it is a figure of speech based on association, metonymy is formed by substituting the name of one thing for that of another, and between these two things there exists a certain specific relation or association. So in case of metonymy, we have the substitution or replacement of the subject or the tenor with a related image, that is the vehicle. So in metonymy, the tenor or the subject is completely removed from the statement and the related or associated thing or idea is placed there. The central thing to remember here is that there must exist a very strong bond of association between these two things, so that when we read or hear about one of them, the thought of the other thing or idea must immediately come to our mind. Let us try to understand the construction of metonymy through perhaps one of the most popular examples of metonymy's employment. The line reads, "The pen is mightier than the sword." So here we have a type of comparison between two things. The pen is mightier than the sword. On the face of it, if we take the statement literally, then it seems to be a bit ludicrous, a bit ridiculous that a pen can be mightier or more powerful than the sword. However, this is a rhetorical statement, a figurative statement, where we have not one but two instances of metonymy. One happens in the beginning, the pen, and the other at the end, the sword. Neither the pen nor the sword here stand for themselves, but they are vehicles that allude to other objects or ideas. The first image that we have here is that of the pen. However, the pen is only a vehicle, and the tenor or the subject to which the pen alludes, that is, the original subject of the statement is not the pen but writing or a writer in general. There is a very strong cultural bond or association between the image of the pen and the image of the writer or writing. Whenever we think about a writer writing, we think about the image of someone writing with a pen, right? So here the pen has substituted the possible tenors of writer or writing. The second instance of metonymy in this sentence is found at the end of the statement, the sword. The sword here alludes to or has substituted the main subject of violence, or a violent person or a tyrant who rules by using the sword, as the sword has been a symbol of violent power and control. Though sword is no longer the significant instrument of perpetrating violence, culturally we have associated the image of the sword with someone perpetrating violence. That is why when we think about a sword, we think about imparting violent or torturous condition upon someone. There are broadly 9 different kinds of metonymic substitution based on the relationship or association that exists between the original subject that has been substituted and the related or associated image that has substituted the original subject. We will discuss these 9 different kinds of metonymic substitution in no particular order. The first kind of metonymic substitution is that of the symbol or the sign for the thing symbolized. Or in simpler words, the original subject or thing is replaced by a symbol or sign of it. When we say he ascended the throne, we do not mean that someone literally ascended or climbed a throne. Here the throne stands in as a symbol of sovereign power. Again, when we look at the statement, gray hairs should be respected, the statement does not suggest that we should respect literal hair on someone's head. Here, the gray hairs should be seen as a sign of old age and thus of wisdom. The second type of metonymic substitution is that of the instrument or organ for the agent. In this case, the instrument or the organ used by a specific person or a profession is used to substitute the instances of that specific person or profession. The first instance of metonymy that we discussed, the pen is mightier than the sword, is an example of such metonymic substitution. Another example is the press wields enormous power. This statement does not suggest that the press, that is the machine which was used to print, wields enormous power. The press is a symbol for journalism or journalists, and hence the statement suggests that journalism or journalists wield enormous power. In these cases, the press or the pen or the sword are instruments or organs used by agents such as journalists, writers, and perpetrators of violence. The third kind of metonymic substitution is where we use the effect for the cause. In such statements, we use or mention an effect while it is the cause that we actually want to mean. One instance might be the statement, "Swiftly flies the feathered death." Here, the use of feathered death actually alludes to an arrow. Instead of using word arrow, which is the cause of death, we have used the effect of an arrow, that is death. The next type of metonymic substitution is the opposite of the previous one, where we use the cause for the effect. when trying to speak about the effect of something, we substitute the effect with its cause. One famous line by war poet Wilfred Owen reads, "Move him into the sun." Obviously, the poet is not suggesting to move someone into the sun literally. Here, sun has been used instead of the rays of sun or sunshine. So here, sun, which is the cause, has been used instead of or in place of the sunshine or sun ray, which is the effect. The next type of metonymic substitution is one which involves using the container for the things contained. In such instances, we use the container instead of using the name of the thing that it contains. If we say that he drank the fatal cup, we do not mean that someone literally drank a cup, but instead the cup here stands in for the contents of the cup, the poison that has been delivered in the cup. Again, if we say the entire city knows him, then we suggest that it is the people of the city who know a person. The people of the city are the contained and the city itself is a container. The next kind of metonymic substitution involves using the name of a passion for the object inspiring it. In such cases, a specific feeling or passion is mentioned, but what is actually meant is the object or the person or the thing that has gave rise to that specific feeling or passion. So in the statement, he is the pride of his country, the word pride, which is the name of a kind of feeling or passion, has substituted the actual subject, which is a person or one of whom his countrymen can feel proud of. In the next kind of metonymic substitution, we use the name of the act instead of the object that has inspired or caused that act. In Macaulay's line, "The principles of liberty were the scoff of every grinning courtier," the word scoff has substituted the original subject, which is object of ridicule. In the next variety, the name of the maker is used instead of the work that has been done by that person. So when we say we have Tagore in our syllabus, we do not mean that we have Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, the person in our syllabus, but the word Tagore here stands for the works written by Rabindranath Tagore. And then we have another kind of metonymic substitution where we use the name of the place instead of the things produced there. In the line, "All Arabia breathes from yonder box," the word Arabia does not suggest the land or the region, but the name of the place is used instead of its famous produce, and Arabia has been famous for producing perfumes. So the word Arabia here has substituted the actual subject, which is the perfumes of Arabia. So this is where we'll end today's lecture, and in our next lecture we will discuss the figure of speech of synecdoche.